Okay, welcome to our latest Swampcast. And of course, Robbie, I don't know if either one of us thought we'd be standing here on October or whatever it is, 25th, 6th, whatever it is, talking about the Gators going not only for the East Championship, but being 7-0.
Yeah, nobody saw this coming, Pat. I mean, I thought Florida would have a bounce and must-chance second year, but they're way ahead of schedule. And, you know, last year after the game, he said, we're not that far off. People kind of laughed at him,
right.
But he was right, apparently.
Yeah, you know, that's a funny thing. When you go back to it, they've won 8 in a row because they won that last game against Ohio State. And you could see little signs that maybe they're getting tougher, maybe getting a little smarter. But, you know, Will talked about this on the conference call Wednesday. They are getting some breaks, too.
Yeah.
He said it seemed like last year every break went against them. He said some of that's hustle, but some of it's just the ball bounces the right way.
Well, last year we talked a lot that he had Ron Zook luck.
Yep.
But now it's turned around. He's kind of got Spurrier luck going a little bit.
Or Urban luck.
Or Urban. Yeah. Urban was a lucky guy. But, yeah, he was getting some breaks then.
Urban gets the job at Ohio State. Guess what? The Big Ten goes into the tank.
And he's going to go undefeated and not that good.
Yeah, but, you know, he pointed out, and it's a good point, how many interceptions did Florida drop last year?
Oh, Jelani Jenkins on his own dropped half a dozen. So.
Yeah, so they're making those catches. They're making the big plays, and it breeds confidence. The better you play, the more confidence you have. So they go up there, I think, a confident team. I think, you know, I agree with the mentality. It's just the next game.
It is. That's the way you got to approach it.
Don't take it too big, to make too big of a deal of it. But I do get the sense Georgia is making a huge deal out of it.
Well, yeah, they've I was saying earlier, they've got a mulligan now because Florida beat South Carolina. Now this is like a title game for them too. So we have a championship game in Jacksonville on Saturday.
When he said, speaking earlier, we did this once already, but I didn't have my mic on. What an amateur, huh?
Sad Pat Dooley.
Yep, that's me. But it's certainly, you know, I think, and I've talked to some people this week. Buck Bellew was on my radio podcast and some other people. This game means more to Georgia, I think. It doesn't mean Florida's not going to win and Florida's not going to care a lot. But for Georgia, I mean, this is their season. Really,
it is.
Right
it
here.
Really is.
And it certainly is huge for Florida. Don't get me wrong. Don't tweet me. Don't email me. But I'm just saying.
No, go ahead and do that.
No, I think the Georgia fans and their players, you know, the Florida-Georgia game is what they look for all year. Florida has so many games and so many rivalries that they kind of stack up.
And you look at Georgia's schedule, how soft. There's nobody else on it close to Florida. Maybe Auburn, but Auburn's kind of down. So this is the game for them, and they have a second chance to win the title when it looked like they were out of it 3 weeks ago.
Yep, and they, you know, their fans don't seem real optimistic.
No. They're very negative for a change in this game.
And it's kind of, I think, a little bit of it is Mark Richt, not 3-9, I think he is against Florida. A little bit of it is the fact that they look at comparative scores, which I tell people all the time.
Don't look at those. It doesn't matter.
Every game's its own game. But you know, one thing about this, Robbie, this rivalry, and I wrote about it yesterday. In the last 20, whatever it is, since Spurrier came aboard in 1990, Florida's always answered a loss.
They have.
Every time Georgia gets a win. Yep. They haven't had back-to-back wins since 1989.
Now you've given them motivation, Pat.
I don't think
the
they're
Bulldogs going to watch your thing here and get
they're
fired up.
They're going to play it on the big screen before the game.
Here's Dooley. He's related to Vince Dooley.
That's right. But I'm not. But at any rate, we'll see what happens there. I mean, you know, it's hard. There's no way I'm picking against Florida, okay?
No.
Not the way they keep finding ways to win games.
No. You know, they're not impressive on offense, Pat. But when you put the whole team together, offense, defense, special teams, they are one of the best teams in the country. There's no debating that, really.
Yeah, it was interesting. I saw on one of these shows I was watching that they were talking about, and it's a great point. Why isn't Florida ranked number 1?
Their schedule's
been tougher than Alabama's. They've gone on the road and beaten Texas A&M. They've gone on the road and beaten Tennessee. They beat LSU already. You know, they beat South Carolina. You know, Alabama hasn't really beaten anybody.
No, they haven't. They beat Arkansas. Yeah. But, I mean, Arkansas was in bad shape.
Do I think Alabama's better than Florida right now at this point?
I think we both agree on that.
Yeah, but that's a good point. You know, Florida's resume is that good. So, terrific job, and this is something I wrote for Saturday, Robbie. No matter what happens, this is a good season.
It is a great season, no matter what. Just to get to this game, Pat, to be undefeated.
Right.
Florida fans are happy again. They feel good about the future. They feel good about their head coach.
It's kind of weird because in 2010 they had a game to go to Atlanta, and they lost it, and the season was ruined.
It was blown up.
But they had also had 3 losses before that.
Yeah, it was a 6-3 team. It never felt like a championship game to me, that South Carolina game. And
it felt like one to Steve Spurrier.
Yeah, it did to him. He had the celebration going.
Yeah, but this year.
But that was a long time ago now.
The loss wouldn't, if they lose this game, it would not ruin the season.
No.
It certainly would be a huge disappointment. And, you know, anytime you can see Atlanta, you know, if it's right there, to not get there would be a disappointment. But what they've done this year has been tremendous. It's been a lot of fun. I tell you what, you kind of get to a point, I think, for Florida fans where they're like, I like this team. You know, they may not do it the way I want them to do it, but I like this team.
Yeah, earlier in the year when they struggled in the opener, like Florida fans pushed them away, like I don't want to go through this again. And now they brought them back. They've won their fans over, no question about it. And if they lose the game, Pat, they can still go, 11-1, 10-2 at the worst. Anybody would have taken that before the start of the year. So
I need a haircut, don't I?
Yeah.
My hair is really getting long. I just don't have time. And tonight can't do it. Avett Brothers tonight. Woohoo! Can't wait for that. And then over to Jacksonville, have a great time over there. It's still the coolest thing, I think. The coolest game every year is that Florida-Georgia game.
The rivalry's great. The setting's great. The atmosphere is unbelievable. The players love coming in the bus over the bridge. They say it's a thing you'll never forget. I can't wait to see what Brent Pease' reaction is. He's never been to one.
Yeah.
So he's going to enjoy it.
He will.
Especially if his offense moves the ball.
Yeah, maybe this is a game where their offense goes nuts,
Are you predicting that?
No, but I will look at this. Now, again, comparative scores don't mean anything, but when you look at Tennessee, what they did to them, and Tennessee,
up and down the field.
Up and down the field makes you wonder. But we'll
Kentucky
see.
gutted them a little bit.
They did. I watched the part of that game again the other day, and it was amazing how easily they moved the ball.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Next time we come to you, we'll be live, or not live, but on tape at Everbank Field up in Jacksonville. We'll be telling you what happened. You probably already know, don't you? Until next time, Robbie Andrew and Pat Dooley of the Gainesville Sun saying so long from the Sunshine State.